What is going on YouTube, and man am I so excited because we are here to review the 2012 supernatural horror film directed by Scott Derrickson, written by C. Robert Kurgel and Derrickson. We have Sinister, probably my favorite horror film of all time. And I'm actually surprised that I never made a review for this on the channel. This movie is so damn good. I don't even know what to say. It's peak horror. It might not be my favorite movie period of all time, but it's probably my favorite horror movie ever. So, we're going to get into the critical reception. Nothing but good things to say. Obviously, we'll talk about the plot. This is a spoiler review. For some reason, I already reviewed the the second Sinister on my channel like a year or two ago, but I never got to this. I watched this for the first time when I was at my friend Greg's house and we were at a sleepover. I didn't really pay attention to it too much. Then I rewatched it again, and then I rewatch it again now that I'm reviewing this, and I just realized how good of a movie this is. But let's go. So this follows true crime writer Ellison Oswalt, who moves into a home in the fictional town of Chatford, Pennsylvania, with his wife Tracy, their 12-year-old son Trevor, and their 7-year-old daughter Ashley. It kind of sets up to be this normal family. Normal things go on. They live a normal life, it seems. So unbeknownst to his wife and children, Ellison has moved them into the home where the Stevenson family were killed by hanging. It's a very dark film, man. It's a very fucked up film, and obviously it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the lighthearted people. You have to kind of be able to handle some things to watch this. It's really, really messed up. Obviously, I've been kind of become immune to things watching a bunch of fucked up movies. But yeah, so Ellison intends to write a biography about the case to regain the fame he lost after his best-selling book, Kentucky Blood, was followed by two less successful works. So he hopes to learn the fate of 10-year-old Stephanie Stevenson, who disappeared following the murders. So this is he's kind of like a detective while also being a writer looking to get his big break again. So it's kind of cool. Wow, I just got news of Von Miller assaulting someone. Let's move on. But Ellison finds a box in the attic that contains a scorpion as well as a projector and reels of Super 8 film, each labeled as home movies. And these are very twisted films, and the scorpion does represent something, so it's kind of important that I mention that. So the films are footage of different families being murdered in various ways, each with a related but innocuous title, such as a mass drowning marked as Pool Party 66. Oh my god, it's messed up, man. So each killing is performed by the unseen camera operator, and we're going to soon find out who that camera operator turns out to be. So Ellison notes the appearance of a mysterious symbol and a strange, eerie man in the films. He's like this weird-looking spirit person. We don't know who he is yet. It's the guy kind of painted in blood right here. That's kind of what he looks like. He's iconic. He's super iconic, very underrated horror movie villain. But yeah. So Ellison matches footage of a throat-slitting murder to news reports from St. Louis, Missouri in 1998. Again, he's trying to kind of solve this. So, where did these come from? Why are there home movies depicting murders? And why the fuck didn't he take these to the police? Because obviously, they could have started an investigation if they had these movies, So 3 members of the Miller family were killed while 13-year-old Christopher Miller vanished. So each time we're kind of noticing a pattern. The younger kid vanishes every time the family gets killed. And that's not some sort of coincidence. So one night, Ellison investigates noises in the attic. Inside the film reel's canister lid, he finds a king snake and childlike drawings depicting the killings, with an eerie figure named Mr. Boogie also present. That's kind of what these kids call this monster dude, this master. And again, the snake represents something. There's a lot of good jump scares in this movie. I feel like this movie is super effective at pretty much everything you want out of a horror film. But at one point, Ellison encounters a Rottweiler in the back garden, which is also representative of, hell and satanic things, pagan, all that. I don't believe in that stuff. I don't really rock with it. It's kind of fucked up. I don't need negative energy like that. But, yeah, they bring that to light in this film, obviously, for the sake of making it scary. But Ellison consults a local deputy and discovers that the film murders took place at different times and in different cities across the country, dating back to 1966. So we're seeing this as kind of like a serial killer or people that are a part of a cult, one of the two things. So a child from each family disappeared following every murder. Again, not a coincidence. And before the Stevensons moved to Chatford, they lived in the Miller's former house, so it's kind of like a chain. It's really weird. It's really eerie. It's an interesting backstory. The deputy refers Ellison to occult specialists Professor Jonas to decipher the symbol in the films. He's an expert on cults. He knows all the symbols. He knows what they mean, what group they're a part of, all that stuff. So Jonas relates the symbol to the ancient and obscure Babylonian god Bagul, who would kill entire families and take one of their children to consume their soul slowly. Fucking nasty stuff. But now we're thinking that this dude that appears in the videos is a god, Bagul. So Jonas suspects the murders are part of a cult initiation rite rather than the work of a single murderer. You know. So as Ellison investigates footsteps and noises throughout the home one night, it is revealed that ghost-like children invisible to Ellison are the cause, with one of them appearing in Ashley's bedroom and, like, telling her to shh, which is an interesting symbol. Like, are we lucky? Shh. Like, what the fuck is going on? I was watching that, I was like, he's widowy lucky. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But, Ashley later paints this girl, whom she identifies as Stephanie Stevenson, on the wall. And this is a person that only Oswald would know because he's performing the case. So obviously, these little ghost children have introduced themselves to Ashley or possessed her in some sort of way. You know? So another night, Ellison hears the film projector running and finds the missing children seated in the attic watching one of the films. He sees them now. Bagul appears on camera before physically appearing before Ellison. Oh man, it's fucking creepy, dude. It is. Ellison takes the camera, projector, and snuff films outside and destroys them. He realizes there's some interesting, like, this is the point of the film where he's like, okay, there's some sort of supernatural beings trying to kind of haunt me here. Tells Tracy that they're moving back to their old home. They gotta get the fuck out of here. And that's a big mistake. He figures out kind of a little later in the film that he made a mistake by leaving this place. So Jonas sends Ellison, now back at his old house, historical images associated with Bagul, including the mysterious symbol and 3 symbolic creatures that Ellison encountered at the Stevenson house: a scorpion, a snake, and a dog. So yeah, these are like the significations. This is like the bat symbols, multiple bat symbols for Bagul to make his appearance. So, yeah. So Jonas is kind of explaining everything, like how early Christians believed that images of Bagul served as a gateway for the monster to come from the spiritual realm to the mortal world. And, Bagul can possess children who come into contact with these images and blah, 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 blah. Ellison discovers the unharmed projector and films in his attic, along with a new film labeled Extended Cut Ending. So now, Bagul's trying to send him a message. So the deputy calls Ellison and informs him that every deceased family had once lived in the house where the previous murders took place. And they had kind of figured that out throughout the film, but now it's starting to come to light. So he also learns from Professor Jonas the pattern. Each new murder occurred shortly after the family moved from the crime scene into a new house, traced back to the killing of the Martinez family by arson in 1979 after... Holy shit, oh my god. After they moved to Sacramento, California from the Portland, Oregon site of the 1966 drowning. So again, there's correlations with all these murders, and we've kind of known that all along based on how they were presented to him. So by moving away from the Stevenson house, Ellison has marked himself and his family as the next victims, unfortunately. The new footage depicts the missing children coming on screen following each murder, revealing themselves to be the murderers under Bagul's influence, which is kind of a crazy twist. You kind of expect it, but it's still really hard-hitting. But Ellison becomes lightheaded and notices a green liquid at the bottom of his coffee mug, along with a note from Ashley that says, "Good night, Daddy," before losing consciousness. So you kind of realize that his daughter, under the influence of Bagul, has poisoned her father. So he awakes to find himself, Tracy, and Trevor bound and gagged on the floor, just like one of those normal family videos, I guess. Home videos. So Ashley, having been influenced by the spirit of Stephanie Stevenson to fall under Bagul's control, approaches them while filming with the 8mm camera. She tells her father that she will make him famous again and proceeds to slaughter her family with an axe. It's fucked, man, I'm telling you. I'll make you famous again, Daddy, is one of the most famous quotes from this film. It hits different. It's, wow. This is a heavy hitter. I mean, she then uses their blood to paint pictures on the walls of the hallway, along with Bagul's symbol on a door. Again, she likes to paint. That's what she's doing right here, pretty much. Ashley views the film of her murders while drawing the killing in the lid of the home movie box to move to the next family. The missing children stare at her through the movie, but flee when Bagul appears. He's like their master. He's like the authority. They're kind of scared of him, you know. He lifts Ashley into his arms and teleports into the movie. The box of films sits in the Oswald family's attic, now accompanied by Ashley's reel titled House Painting 12. Ah, man, oh man. This is a very dark film. I like it, though. I think it's really good. We can get to the review. I kind of got to get going. I got to go to lunch here in like a half hour or so. So, yeah. So, getting into the review of it all, it's a good movie. I mean, its plot hinges on typically implausible horror movie behavior and recycles. There are some cliches, but I mean, Sinister overall delivers a surprising number of fresh, diabolical twists here. I think it's really good. I mean, it's the sort of tale that would paralyze kids' psyches. It's a deeply frightening horror film that takes its obligation to alarm very seriously. There's a few obvious horror tropes, but Ethan Hawke as the author of Oswald, as Oswald was great. It's an undeniably scary movie. It's one of the best horror movies of the time, and probably one of the best I've ever seen. You know, the soundtrack, the subversion of contemporary horror tropes. The film is definitely solid. I mean, yeah. And this is from the producers of Paranormal Activity and Insidious, and I was quite surprised by this because this movie is way better than those movies. In my eyes, I think it's way better, way more effective, and it was damn near filmed at the same time as those films. Yeah, I mean, this is how Hollywood horror should be done. Sinister covers all its bases with aplomb. I mean, it's amazing. You know, there are a couple faults. There's something undeniably powerful about Sinister. Hawke's performance holds the screen through its more hackneyed moments, but it's the scenes where it's just him, a projector, and a few feet of hideous 8mm footage where the movie truly convinces. And while its scares are sometimes cheap, it's also difficult to deny that Sinister sometimes manages to inspire moments of palpable dread. You get scared watching this movie, and if you don't, you're kind of psychotic. Obviously, if you know the jump scares are coming and you've seen this movie a couple times, it's not going to scare you as much, but yeah. I like how it kind of took the outdated technology. I know not a lot of people liked that part, but, you know, I don't know. Celluloid is such a warm, friendly, old format. I don't know. It's one of the scariest movies ever made, though. Like, people actually did studies. It is one of the scariest movies ever made. 50 of the highest rated horror movies ever made based on reception. And then they measured heart rates and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know. This is quite nerve-wracking, some of the jump scares, and they're really effective at it. So, yeah, it's creepy as shit. So, you kind of want to watch this with someone else. I don't know. That's what I'd recommend. But I'm out, guys. Have a good rest of your day. One of my favorite horror movies right here. This right here is peak horror. I will say that right now. And I'm a movie fanatic. I've been watching movies professionally on this channel for a couple years now. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say it's a pretty good movie to me. Hopefully it is to you. I'm out.